Sabbath Afternoon. Read for this week's study, 2 Corinthians 9:6, 7, Deuteronomy 16:29. Memory text: What shall I render to the Lord for all his benefits toward me? I will take up the cup of salvation and call upon the name of the Lord. I will pay my vows to the Lord now in the presence of all his people. Psalm 116:12-14, NKJ. Besides tithing, there are offerings, which come from the 90% that remain in our possession. After our tithe is returned to God. This is where generosity Different types of offerings were given by God's people, such as sin offerings, passed in response to God's grace, or thank offerings, given to recognize God's protection and blessings of health. There were offerings for the poor and offerings to build and maintain the house of worship. When we consider the magnitude of God's gifts to us, we begin to see our giving as more than just paving the parking lot or buying. We bring our gifts in response to what God has done for us, especially in the sacrifice of Jesus. We love him because he first loved us. 1 John 4:19. The church, whether at a local conference or worldwide, uses our gifts to advance the cause of God. Motivation for giving: we love God because he first loved us. Our giving is in response to his unique motivation for gift to us, Jesus. In fact, we are told, the Lord does not need. We cannot enrich him with our gifts. Says the psalmist, all things come of thee, and of thine own have we given thee. Yet God permits us to show our appreciation of his mercies by self-sacrificing efforts. This is the only way in which it is possible for us to manifest our gratitude and love to God. He has provided no other. Ellen G. White, counsels on stewardship. When we surrender our money to Jesus, it actually strengthens our love for him and for others. Therefore, money can be a real power for good. Jesus spent more time talking about money and wealth than just about any other subject. One verse in every 6 in Matthew, Mark, and Luke is about money. The Gospel's good news is that God can deliver us from the misuse and love of money. Read Matthew 6:31-34 and Deuteronomy 28:1-14. What does God promise to do for us if we? It's selfishness on our part to claim the promises of God? Our offerings are evidence of our willingness to self-sacrifice for God. They can be a profoundly spiritual experience, an expression of the fact that our lives are holy, surrendered to God. To us, as an English idiom says, it is putting our money where our mouth is. You can say you love God, but generous offerings help reveal, and even strengthen. An offering comes from a heart that trusts in a personal God who constantly provides for our needs as he sees best. Our offerings rest on the conviction that we have found assurance. They are not an appeasement or a search for God's acceptance. Instead, our offerings flow from a heart that has accepted Christ by faith as the only and sufficient means of grace and redemption. Read 2 Corinthians 9:6, 7. What is the Lord saying to us here? What does it mean to give? One purpose is in his heart, and how do we learn to give cheerfully? Study this week's lesson to prepare for Sabbath, January 28. Matthew, a survivor of cancer and stroke, requests that you help spread awareness of severe diseases by publishing this. Please take a moment to subscribe to and like this video.